It's race day. Welcome, race fans, to a showcase of driving perfection. My name's Webbo, and let's get down trackside. Hold on tight, we're gonna... Whoa, easy. Surely not all the way around the outside. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. This is a roller coaster of emotions. The drivers are pushing their machines to the limit and beyond. Woo, it doesn't get any better than that. We wait for the lights, the revs build and so does the excitement. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go! Okay, driver, it's hammer time. This driver is an artist and the racetrack is their canvas. Did you see that? Did you see that? Wow! Let's watch it again. Ooh, hopefully they'll get away with that one. What a great start, and it looks like we can build on this now and really make a good race of it. There's the fastest lap, folks. No mercy on the menu today. Yeah, sideways is rarely ever faster, but you do get style points. And we roll the safety car dice. Leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Someone's gone bowling into turn one. What a shocker. Moving left, jinking right, keep them guessing. Lawn mowing as a side gig. And we go down the inside, Danny Rick style. We're on the edge of our seats here, folks. The racers are pushing their limits, risking it all for that coveted first place position and the all-important win. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The two cars ahead are fighting with each other. It's slowing them down. And through we go! That driver is a complete and total. A word has not been invented to describe how complete and total they are. But they are one, and a complete and total one at that. And it all comes down to this, the final lap. If you smell what this driver is cooking. This seems like as good a time as any to ask if you've subscribed yet. Your Grand Slam, pole, fastest lap, and the win! Should not. Welcome, folks, to race day, and this is Daytona, of course. Where else could it possibly be to start our season 4.4? Here we are at the fantastic road course layout, the 3.61 mile circuit configuration of Daytona for a start of a brand new 7 race championship here at the GTD World Challenge. These drivers will now be competing in the same category of car as their top team leading mates in order to better prepare them, I think, for the opportunity to race in the top leagues when they get to promotion. You're fighting over promotion. Of course, P1 in the championship receives guaranteed promotion, and then P2 and 3 will go into the playoffs for the final. We're about to start qualifying session. Just 10 minutes are allowed to the drivers for that qualifying session, and we will take you through that in as much detail as possible. But let's introduce the drivers and the teams, as well as the all-new cars for the GTD era here at the World Challenge for Deviant Racing League. My name is Webbo. I forgot to say that, but it's probably fairly obvious based on the channel you're tuning into. But we will have today, with the drivers, we will start with Team Karate Tortoises on screen at the moment. This is Kuros Kai racing with Sully in the Honda NSX Group 3. And they will be rocking different bandana stripes down the cars. We already saw them in the GTD Pros, but a very interesting engine note there for Kuros Kai. And here's to say, joined by Sully. We have Team Amazon. Unfortunately, in the Hyundai Genesis, they will unfortunately have not made the livery come through today, and that seems to be a bit of a problem today. But unfortunately, yes, the Amazon cars will be driven by Hyundai Genesis and driven by Dirksey and Parzival. Then we have, or Billy Bob, as he will probably appear on the screen. Yes, there he is. Team Chameleon will be driving the Toyota GR Supra. Now, the Team Chameleon are supposed to be blending in to the other cars on the circuit, and we will see that. Here is that Supra, but unfortunately they haven't been able to steal someone else's livery, or at least if they have, it hasn't come through. I think they were planning on trying the Stars and Stripes of Team America today, but that will be Arcane. And newcomer to the league, the conquering GT Sport winner, Astonishing, known also as Dollars per win. Team Pike Fitness drive the Nissan GTR Nismo, and we'll have Thrasher and Lalo Kills as their pilots. And Team Universal Studios will be driven. Here we have one of them. Team Universal Studios have chosen the Minions franchise this time around, and will be racing in that very iconic new livery of the cars, and that will be in the GTDs, driving the Aston Martin V12 Vantage, as you can see, but they will be driven by Saito and Jim, or JDA, as he will appear, but Jim, JDA on YouTube chat often. Team Cannonball will be driven, excuse me, I've got that wrong, it's Bongit and Saito in Team Universal. In Team Cannonball, we have Ozzy and Osman Devil and Jim. They will be driving the Audi R8 LMS Evo and have gone with a Tide sponsorship today. So Tide are sponsoring the entire car. And then finally, to finish out the list, we have Team America. And Team America will be driving the iconic Ford GT race car, which has to be the favourite around Daytona, surely, driven by T Deeds and by Huge Jar. Let's try and have a look at one of those, shall we, while we have a look. Unfortunately, it's red, white and blue, but unfortunately it's the default livery there for the Ford GT. And that's not happened today. T Deeds is rocking the Ford GT, but in the snake scale livery here of Team America. Let's join them on board then for a hot lap around Daytona as we've gone through turn 1. That's the chicane of turn 2 as we head down into the international horseshoe of turn 3. Trying to get that long wheelbase Ford GT
tucked into the apex. Next up, we've got the dogleg, which usually is a slight lift into the corner, but at full speed on soft tyres, it is full. It's flat out down into the second horseshoe. This one is the west horseshoe, and then looking for a good line through what is going to be a tricky corner here, the in and out for all of our drivers, but I think mostly our Ford GT drivers, who have very, very limited visibility. Look at the size of that A-pillar on the left of screen that they have to contend with. Then it is a flat out section along the banking, and this is the NASCAR turn 1 and turn 2 continual corners before heading into the straightaway at the back of the circuit and down towards the braking zone. The only indication you've got are the forthcoming tyre barriers and concrete, and those tiny little numbers on the top right of the catch fencing. Through the bus stop we go. All important to power out of there to absolutely maximise the run, but beware of penalties. The track limits are often pretty tight and punishing. We've got plenty of you joining us already. Welcome to Zen, to New Nagasaki, to Alexandra, who rejoins us from the previous stream, to Alpha, and also to Iana, yes, Iana, you'll have to forgive my pronunciation, but Iana cheering on Astonishing, and I believe some friends of Iana's are also going to be watching Astonishing today, who is making a big step up from GT Sport to competing now for the GTD trophy and title through the entire season here. Glovas, talking about the previous race, we will cover that in due course, of course, but Arcane has the fastest lap at the moment at 146.329. As I said, only 10 minutes of qualifying are available to the drivers. This is Bongit, who runs through the in and out and over the black painted over yellow apron double line there on the left hand side. Can't transgress that apron line, and you can just see a little flash of it in the top right corner of the screen. How I wish I had my VR helmet on right now and I could show you all around the car, but sadly you can't do that as a spectator live. Waiting for the braking zone. It's right close to 100 meters and a nice tight line here. Is it too tight for Bongit, our Canadian driver? Behind him, nobody to speak of. We are racing for Team Karate Tortoises, I think, as I mentioned before, avoiding any lawsuits or trademark infractions. It doesn't usually bother any of us, but there we go. And they're also sponsored by Turtle Wax, so make of that exactly what you will. The world centre of racing, so says Daytona, self-proclaimed, of course. Arcane leads us. Bongit is in second place. Dirksey is in third. Then we have T. Deeds and Thrasher. What of Astonishing? We've got Astonishing being supported today in the live audience, which is great to see. Bringing with him an audience, we love to see that, and we shall see then how he progresses then. As will he live up to his gamer tag and be astonishing? Well, that's a personal best and a P3 at this early stage, and straight back into the pits we go on board with him. Back to Bongit, shall we? As we see if he can maximise this one. Plenty of drivers I've seen so far on zero traction control. I was surprised to see some of our GTD Pro drivers showing as reading with traction control. Glovas, question mark. But we shall see. It certainly read on my screen, Glovas, that you were showing as using number 2 traction control, which would be scandalous. Gareth Larry is here to cheer on Jim to win this race or get out of the neighbourhood, he says. Larry, Gareth Larry, or it was like Fantastic Fart or Fart Fighter or something like that was his gamer tag. A man of many names. But he is saying win this race or get out of the neighbourhood. Well, it's a personal best. It's a purple time for Bongit so far, but that doesn't always tell the full story for the drivers. This is the Honda NSX Group 3 that they're driving here. Sometimes the drivers are struggling out of the final corner. We pretty much all use traction control, says Zen. Well, look at this. Look at Bongit onto pole position without traction control. He takes a 146.213, and it is the ball is very much in Arcane's court now. as we are nearing the final laps of this time. Looks like this one is just 9,000ths of a second away from that his best, and he was just beaten by a 10th. As Zen says, is that car all-wheel drive? Well, I don't know. For me, I want the drivers. I want all of our drivers to turn all the assists off, please, wherever possible. Arcane then, looking to try and catch a little bit of a distant tow from the car in front. Let's see if he can complete this lap before we get to 10 minutes. I think he will, and he'll have one final lap to go and a low fuel run. 73 thousandths of a second only away for Arcane, and he's trying to get that P1 back. What of astonishing. Did he make it onto his final lap? He absolutely did. He'll be one of the last ones there. Zen saying no all-wheel drive, so well done then, Bongit. Absolutely. Showing up the GTD Pro drivers here are our GTD series. Arcane is chasing down. Let's see what his sector times look like. Larry's saying he needs more than just the in-game assists, and you can check that out on the live chat. Well, I know some Canadian drivers from other leagues who have a special race day diet, and you can only imagine what that would be. But who do whatever it takes to get the edge. Billy Bob and Huge Jar come together on the exit of the in and out, and that is certainly not going to go down well between the two of them. Billy Bob, I think, losing a little bit of time. Arcane is vying for pole position here, and he could really do with these two drivers well out of his way. He dispatches with one of them as he closes in on Huge Jar. He's had to give this one up. He may make contact coming into the corner. I think he may have made contact into the corner. The driver's failing to find enough room here to finish this one out. There's not much the stewards can do, though, about a qualifying incident prior to the race to follow. They may do something post-race, but a little bit of contact there. It is the following driver's job to find room on the racetrack in order to set their qualifying. No one has a God-given right to this racetrack or a clear track in front of them in qualifying, especially in race one. Arcane, it didn't work for him at all. What I'm interested in, though, is can Astonishing manage to make it? He couldn't get a better time. It looks like it's going to be Bongit all the way for Team Universal Studios, and a very cool and rather subtle minion livery here, apart from with the exception of the rest of his colleagues in his team, as Bongit leads all these Americans. Look, our Canadian driver with no traction control, taking the Aston Martin up to pole position, a 146.0 to Arcane's 146.3 for Team America. Then we have, not Team America, Team Chameleons, who are racing Stars and Stripes. They're going to confuse me all season long, these guys. Arcane second, TD's third for Team America in the Ford GT. Then we go back to the Supra and Astonishing in P4. Dirksey in P5. Also racing in now the Genesis here. You won't see that particular livery on the track, I don't think. It's made it through the lobby. Jim is in 6th. Thrasher is in 7th with Huge Jar in 8th. Then comes Saito for Universal in 9th. Kuros Kai for those karate tortoises. Not doing well in qualifying here. Kuros Kai in 10th. Aussie in 11th in the Tide-sponsored Audi R8. Then is Lalo Kills in 12th. Sully is in 13th. Billy Bob in 14th position. And Huge Jar and Billy Bob getting a little bit battered and bruised on that qualifying lap. Chaotica will be our safety car driver, and I wait to hear what the safety car lap will be. That should be announced momentarily in the chat on the left-hand side of your screen, not the right-hand side live chat that you're watching with me, but actually on the game screen itself. Hopefully, safety car will be announced either there or by someone who cares to message me and let me know. we can but hope. But yes, looking forward to this GTD World Challenge and a 60-minute race. As usual, racing tyres required are the hards and the mediums, but there is a change, and that is to the fuel flow rate at the pit stops, and that is much slower this season, down to 6 litres a second from 10 litres a second, meaning that making sure you refuel by exactly the right amount is absolutely paramount for those vital few tenths or even whole seconds when it comes to race strategy, and certainly the final strategy call for that final stint. We managed 32 laps with our drivers in the GTD Pro. What will we see when it comes to the GTD series? Waiting for us to get underway. I'm waiting for a safety car notification as well. I got an odd Discord notification from the Deviant server, but haven't actually seen any actual ping happening here. It's an event starting thing that's come up, so it's inviting me to the event I've already part of, which is great. Exactly what we want. Lap 11 says Zen. Thank you very much for that one, and I'm sure that the green light will be given to us. But a great qualifying from Bongit, racing in the Aston Martin. It's got good top speed, good power, but it takes a little while to get out of the corners. Does the V12 Vantage? So we will see if perhaps the historic Ford GT name can bring our drivers some luck today for Team America as well. No spoilers for the GTD Pro for those yet to watch it, but it was a cracking race and we really enjoyed it earlier on. Astonishing in 4th place in the Supra. Remember that we have the stealth teammates who are trying to hide among Team America here. They probably did a better job of it in the GTD Pro by outright stealing the livery and converting it. But we're ready to get underway for you. The race is about to start. I hope everybody is comfortable and is fueled up and ready to race. Let's get you trackside. Let's get underway for the season 4.1 of the all-important GTD series. Bongit leads us on the inside line from the Supra on the second position on the outside of Arcane. Then we have TD's and Astonishing. It's 5 lights on. We're ready to go racing, and it's dropped the clutch and go, go, go. Initial bite was very good from the Supra and the Aston Martin, but it seems to have worked against the Ford GT behind. Is it going to be a murder scene, says Larry, says Gareth, heading down into the corner. It is certainly going to be very, very busy, but it's a slightly slower entry to turn 1, of course, for this first lap. But there is a little bit of problems. We've got Jim having an issue down there. Let's have a quick check back with what happened to Jim on the way in. He's got the inside line. Somehow he ended up on the outfield here. Oh, that was horrid for Jim, unfortunately getting absolutely smashed from the rear. So back to the lead then. Don't want to give up everything, but standing start at Daytona. That's badass, says Alpha. It's sacrilegious, you could say as well, but yes, it is a standing start for all races here at the Deviant Racing League, for good or for ill. As then said, clip the invisible wall of tyres. Oh, so that's why he kind of stopped dead and then got rammed, shall we say, as Bongit leads Arcane and TD's. Astonishing is having a look here on the inside of the Hyundai. Let's see if the Supra has the top speed power. He'll get a small side draft from the Genesis, and they come together slightly as they come off the banking. Now on the straightaway down in towards the bus stop. Astonishing has got himself ahead, but can everybody make it through the bus stop without penalty? Well, certainly Kuroskai already has a penalty coming in. Huge Jar has got that traction control turned way up to click 3 of 5. Aussie down in 10th. We've got Lalo Kills in 12th, Billy Bob in 12th, sorry, and Sully in 13th, Jim in 14th. Unfortunately for him, Chaotica touring around in the Mercedes safety car, but Bongit is loving it out there at the head of our field, and he completes lap 1, starts lap 2. TD's looking down the inside, or was it Astonishing looking down the outside? I think it might have been Astonishing with a cutback. What a manoeuvre from Astonishing. The outside, inside, a lovely little cut there, and into P3. Great stuff to see from Astonishing, who is joining us here from the GT Sport Series. And look at that, how about that? Obviously he needed a little bit of help from poorly braking TDs for Team America, but it worked out very, very nicely indeed for him. TDs is in 4th, now defending heavily. Here we go, into the West Horseshoe. We go for the driving. Now the other horseshoe is not called the East Horseshoe, it's called the International Horseshoe for turn 3, but that was the West Horseshoe. Now we're into the in and out corner, where we mix road surfaces here back out on the high banking of the Daytona oval, the NASCAR setup, and TDs is in that 4th position. Up at the front, Arcane is losing ground here to Bongit, who has converted pole into the lead and is checking out, quite frankly, from the rest of the grid. A fantastic early lead for him. Hard tyres on our Saito as he looks for that opportunity into the bus stop. There's no way through just yet, but he's closing in. As Gareth says, standing starts are awesome. They're like a line dancing club that experiences an earthquake. Okay, I'd love to know if you just invented that phrase, Larry, but that was pretty special. Penalty for Hughes Jar as he went through the bus stop illegally, as did the Karate Tortoise's car behind him. Thrasher needs to not make contact with Hughes Jar here before the penalty, because it's going to be an easy pass as Hughes Jar clicks his TC up and down, up and down. I wonder if he's got a rig issue there, because that's certainly slightly distracting. Our Saito makes contact with Dirksey, and then the barriers on the inside didn't work out well. So let's have a look at this one from our Saito. From his perspective, we go for that outside-inside cutback. It's the grass. You lose traction on the grass. I think he waited, and then he hit the very visible tyre barrier on the way in and had to restart again. And the Minion car not doing well, but causing all kinds of mischief, as you would expect, and slotting back into P7 and struggling now, having put in a better performance earlier on. Hughes Jar out on the grass. That won't do the Ford GT any good at all. It's far too pretty a car to do that to, and he will obviously have a whole bunch of debris on his tyres through all of those cooling gills on the car as well. It's basically just an exoskeleton of a car, is the Ford GT, and it's fabulous to look at. What I wouldn't give to get behind the wheel of one of those absolute beasts of American muscle car. It's our Saito in P7. It's near a hypercar, really, isn't it? Let's be honest here. As Thrasher is celebrating the PlayStation 30th anniversary. We don't talk about the PlayStation 30th anniversary because some of us feel very old indeed when we talk about that. Astonishing in P3. He is 5.5 seconds away from Bongit. He's on the hard tyres. Arcane also on the hards. Bongit, though, checking out, but he's on the medium tyres. And we are waiting for that 11th lap safety car. So we will see how the strategies work out here. I don't think we're going to get 11 laps out of a tank of fuel. The GTD Pro drivers could basically max out at 9 or 10, depending on the manufacturer of their vehicle. Dirksey running wide. That is very easily done down into turn 1. It invites you to not brake until the last possible moment. That's Aussie getting through in the Tide sponsored Audi R8 ahead of Kuros Kai. Welcome to Aussie joining us here in the league as well. You can it's an interesting choice of sticker on the door panel there for Team Cannonball. I imagine it's the greatest sticker, the very greatest sticker there has ever been, and he is hoping to make America great again, obviously, and wash the rest of the grid very clean indeed. Kuros Kai is in 9th, Hughes Jar is in 10th. We have Jim in 11th position after that early incident, and then further back, we've got the Pike Fitness car of Lalo Kills in P12. Sully is in P13, rocking the Donatello version of the copyright compliant Karate Tortoises named team. Of course, they're driving with Turtle Wax sponsorship. Then we've got Billy Bob at the back of the grid in P14. Chaotica waits in the pits, and he's got a long wait still to go. But at the front, it is as it was before. Bongit from Arcane from Astonishing, but Bongit the only one on the medium tyres of that group. TD's also looking good in P4, but we have a nice tight midfield. Dirksy's on the hard tyre. Then we go back to Thrasher in 6th. Hard tyres for him as well. Looks like everybody choosing that hard tyre for this first stint. Of course, it will buy Bongit some speed now, but he will have to use it later on, at least for one stint. But given our tyre wear and the high degradation circuit here, the hard tyre not quite the penalty that it often can be here. Aussie P8, Huge Jar P9, and then we've got a nice battle developing between Kuros Kai and Jim, as Jim tries to bring the Chameleon livery. You'd be forgiven for thinking it's Team America. It is the Chameleons livery, who are trying to trick their rivals here by wearing liveries that are more reminiscent of other teams. Unfortunately, with Huge Jar, his livery having not made it through, he's got a red, white and blue snake pattern, and then his teammate has got the yellow snake pattern on the car. No confusing though, the Michelangelo of Kuros Kai here with the orange bandana. I do hope I've remembered all of my Karate tortoises correctly from when I was like 12 years old, but the theme tune always helped, no doubt. 0.4 of a second separating Jim and Kuros Kai. Let's see how that feels on board as we use the gyro cam to sit and start feeling motion sickness. My apologies if you get motion sickness, but you've got to experience a little bit of time. Oh, that was a very, very late lunge there from Jim. I think forced into it. Kuros Kai quite hesitant on the braking on the way in, but now you'll see how steep the banking actually is here in Daytona. When you're wearing a VR helmet, you get this effect as well. The gyro actually moves with you. You don't tend to move with the car. It's as if your head wants to stay at sea level, but it's a very, very strange experience around Daytona. We might have a little bit of action happening just ahead of this group, actually, as Aussie is all over the back here of Huge Jar, taking very different lines into turn 1, but not quite actioning a pass just yet. Aussie, P9 in the Audi R8, and an unusual choice here, the Audi, but hopefully it'll be good to see this car. The Tide livery looks great. I'm not quite so sure about all of the stickers on the car, but Huge Jar is in P8. I don't know whether we want to get political, do we? Here, we want to go racing to forget about politics, am I right? But the Tide livery looks absolutely iconic. Huge Jar is struggling massively on the hard tyres and the Ford GT to get the car turned into these slow corners. The long wheelbase, lazy, low slung car really struggles, but then you put the foot down on the straight, and it is absolutely awesome. Aussie then, his view of what's happening with Huge Jar, as he can virtually see through parts of the panels of the Ford GT, which is awesome. And looking for that to pile the pressure on at this stage. They head underneath the jet aircraft taking off. Not the only circuit you see aircraft in Gran Turismo, but certainly very, very close to the racetrack as we get that power down. Half a second is what this looks like, but that Ford GT is drifting away. Let's compare the speed. It's a good 5 or 6 miles an hour faster on the Ford GT at this early part of the straightaway. But the Audi R8 does sound pretty special up against the walls. So the gap's opening a little bit. Let's tour back through it, shall we, as Jim is watching this group. Sully's just taking that half-second penalty now. Donatello, he does machines, but he also does penalties today. Lalo Kills in 13th and Billy Bob in 14th position. Am I having too much fun with Karate Tortoises? Yes, I am. Bongit leads us in the Minion Team Universal car, bucking the trend here of the Minions. I'd love to know quite what's happening with that livery. I guess he felt it was sacrilege to put something too unstylish on an Aston Martin, but his lead is now 4.8 seconds. He's about to take some pain though with the medium tyre wear, although it looks like he might run out of fuel before he runs out of tyres. It's certainly going to be a pretty tight run thing. Arcane in second and running through underneath that glorious banking, and Astonishing catching, I think, 2.9 seconds away from his team leader at this stage. TD's is in 4th for Team America and has the golden snake pattern here. And let's get a quick close-up look there of everything that's happening. TD's has got a PSVR sticker on the car. I don't know if that means he is racing in the VR system. Props to him if he is. It is a much harder thing to do than to race on a flat, stable, static screen. This is Thrasher chasing down Dirksey still. Unfortunately, we're not really getting the proper liveries that we would like to see for Team Amazon on the Genesis cars. Sorry, the Hyundai cars of Team Amazon. Hopefully next season, next race, we will see that. Thrasher moves through, takes the low side, takes the air off Dirksey, and gets into that fifth position. Nice overtake from Thrasher. That was all done through the bus stop and the exit of the bus stop, but the Nismo Pike Fitness car looking great out there as well. It looks like the sun is starting to set, and then we have the full-on banana of the Minion car for Team Universal here of our Saito. It's got the Guru logo on there as well, and I think I might just spy a Webbo sticker, which I always like to see, as you guys know. Heading into the West Horseshoe we go then with Thrasher and Dirksey. Close driving here, as Junkai says, get it, bong it, Team Universal. Yeah, looking good out there, Team Universal. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of your awesome... I wasn't trying to do American Zen, I was trying to do Minion. I wouldn't presume to try and do American or Canadian accents in this league. That would be a hiding to nothing. Look at the lights suddenly dipping as we go down the start-finish straight. Sorry, the back straight here. Zen says same difference. Yeah, true enough. But Saito right on the tail of this group and on the hard tyres, running out of fuel. Let's see about Bongit's fuel load and into the pits. In fact, Bongit comes in at the end of lap 8. Remember, we're expecting the safety car lap 11. And everybody is motoring on into the pits here. Looks like there is little to choose between the fuel rates, the Genesis and the Nismo. No surprises for drivers of the Gran Turismo series that the Japanese manufacturers do seem to have a bit of an advantage on fuel usage very, very often. But Hyundai, I should say, and Thrasher moving forward. Clubhouse saying looking good so far for the team. Indeed it is. So Dirksey in second, Jim in third position here, fighting off Aussie at this stage. And look at the fuel usage there for Jim. Absolutely fantastic in the Audi. Really, really good. He's been able to save some fuel, has he? But that looks very, very tidy indeed. Have I got that wrong, in fact? I think I may have. No, this is the Cannonball livery. Jim has gone for the Stars and Stripes that is kind of being copied by the Chameleons today to try and emulate the the other livery of Team America. Anyway, Aussie in fourth as there's no missing Aussie on track out there. And he has an orange man on the side of his car as well. Here are the Karate Tortoises of Sully holding up Bongit at the moment, but Bongit be grateful for a little tow here. Sully yet to pit. Bongit having just made his pit stop and going for a hard tyre, full tank of fuel stint here. That will see him take the safety car and beyond, I believe. He may decide that just to run the hard tyres until the safety car, and then run two sets of mediums at the end. But the safety car, I think, is going to come out before the halfway period, and you don't want to leave yourself more than 2 stints to finish here. Bongit very tight on those apexes. Gareth saying, "Let's go, Sully. Best season yet for him. Mark my words." Okay, are you doing a chat commenter's curse here? Is that your intention? I wonder. I'd love to know a bit more, Gareth, DM me about your race and where were all my comedic livery comments that were supposed to be coming my way as well. I needed some comedy to help me along here. You can leave them now for the safety car period. Into the pits comes Thrasher. Bongit and Arcane resume their positions at the front, but Bongit's lead has been absolutely cut, and that is because Bongit is on the hard tyres and Arcane has come out on the soft tyres for a very short stint here, possibly just a quick stint on the quick outlap stint before the safety car while it matters here for a moment. Astonishing is in third, and he is 8.7 seconds away from the lead of the race. Lalo Kills in fourth place, as the drivers just getting ready now for that safety car period, just getting themselves all fueled up and ready to go. Back to the front though, we haven't had a battle at the front of the grid though for a little while, so I'm hoping that we will get some action here. Completely different tyres, two compounds apart. Arcane on the softs and sparking away the Supra at the rear, the Toyota Gazoo Racing default livery. Unfortunately, we were hoping to see that Stars and Stripes livery on Arcane's Supra, but the Chameleons not really doing their job today, making it through the lobby. Into the bus stop we go, on board with Arcane, and then trying to get the tow behind Bongit if we possibly can. Let's get some slipstream going, and it's working very nicely indeed. Bongit slower in the Aston Martin here. That's a great pass, obviously, for the Supra, and he's on the soft tyres. Bongit's got to be wondering what he's done wrong to miss out to such an extent. Arcane was a little bit cautious onto the brakes there very early, but then Bongit has to be very, very careful indeed. Our safety car driver Chaotica has made it out of the pits without drama, it seems, and now everybody slows for that safety car period. Bongit will just be hoping to save some fuel and see what Arcane did with the fuel. Now, why didn't Arcane decide to short fuel this? Because the soft tyres are only going to last a little while. That's a question for the audience. If you know why you would fill up the car at full race speed when you had the opportunity to take the car out on softs at super light. That's a confusion one for me. We've got Astonishing on the medium tyres then. So 3 different compounds in the top 3, but the top 3 are enjoying it. Zen says shorter pit stop next time. It's all about buying yourself time later on. That makes sense. Gareth saying I think he was going to try for fastest lap, which for me, yes, that would be why you would underfuel, but sure, I understand. Shorter pit stop during the safety car. You can take, it doesn't matter. You can take a long pit stop under the safety car. It makes no difference, surely. It makes even less of a difference. Oh, I don't know. I don't do hour-long endurance racing. I can barely do 20 laps without spinning off. You'll see exactly that. As Gareth says, he didn't say he was smart. Indeed. Right, let's have a look at these liveries in detail, shall we? We always enjoy this. Not so the Supras today, but here is the rather stylish Aston Martin Minion livery then for our Team Universal today. Just waiting to see. We've got Bongit's name on the roof, of course. So beautiful stuff there from Team Universal. The Pike Fitness has gone for a very realistic looking racing livery here for the Nismo, really suiting the shut lines of the car, GTR. Yeah, I really like that. But also you've got Knuckles on the car as well. Abra of nothing, I guess, but celebrating PlayStation's 30th anniversary. The beautiful scales of the Snake of Team America, Serpentus Liberatus, on the car. We love to see little puns and jokes like that. No step on snack, it says on the bonnet. I hope you can see that closely. But there is T Deeds, indeed. Back to the Pike Fitness. Nothing happening on the Hyundais, unfortunately, but you can just see them inset there. Should be a chromish Prime Video livery. Then we've got the banana livery with why Starbucks? Star Banana. I thought it said Starbucks. Great. And Gru's logo, car number 19 for Team Universal, and then a cuddly unicorn on the roof, which have to say it's been a while since I've watched any Minions, but I don't quite understand. That's the default livery for the GT, and then we've gone full America for Team Cannonball. Nice Webbo sticker and a no speed limit obeying sign as well on the car, and that is Jim in the Stars and Stripes asymmetrical livery. Make sure you get your stars and your bright colours on the infield view of the car. You can't miss the Tide colour scheme of this Cannonball livery, and he's gone for the 55 race number as well. Freaky fast, he says. And Sunoco are sponsoring. Some great stickers on there as well. They've obviously got some big corporate sponsors today. Advanced Auto Parts, Valvoline, Motor Royal. Love it. Then we go to have a look at those Karate tortoises and the Michelangelo variant of it, Cowabunga and Kai Karate on the side, and a little Webbo sticker there as well as them driving using the Michelin tyres, which you like to see as well. Then you've got the Donatello version of the livery for Sully. Good. I'm hoping we get a Shredder livery or a Bebop and Rocksteady version later on in the series as well. Nothing for Billy Bob, unfortunately. Arcane has now pitted and got onto the medium tyres. Lalo Kills is down in 14th. We've seen his livery already. And then we'll just look at the safety car for a moment as well. Gareth says credit Glovas for the Karate Tortoises liveries. They're very nice indeed. Ozzy needs to fix his number board spots then. Oh. Is that a race ban penalty, perhaps? Beautiful safety car, the Mercedes this season as well. Looks great in the night conditions. We are full night conditions now. We have 36 minutes remaining to us on this lap, this 1 hour race. I'm just checking to see if I've had any updates at all mid-race from people. But Zen could be the splinter for us as well. Indeed. Or Krang. Was it Krang? Am I remembering right? That'd be good. And I'm expecting to see some sort of pizza reference as well later on in the season. Astonishing. Showing us P2. Newish medium tyre. Gareth saying Krang is the brain. Yeah, got it. Good stuff. So 3/4 of a tank for those drivers who stopped before the safety car, except Thrasher, who's managed to, because he drives a Nissan, managed to extend a little bit more. We're waiting then for the green flag. Safety car, I think, has headed in. Yes, indeed. So we're ready to go racing as soon as they cross the line. They're looking pretty quick, actually. Through, and we are green flag racing now as Bongit leads us away. No big changes, but looks like Kuros Kai having a look at the Tide Cannonball car of Aussie, one of our two Canadians, Aussie, and currently Kuros Kai unable to get through, but had a good overlap on the restart in the NSX. So no big change in the order other than what happened during the safety car. Arcane, of course, will be hoping to get back up to the head of the field, but Astonishing has passed Bongit. Let's try and catch that again. Was that down into turn 1 already? It must have been very early to possibly turn 3. Astonishing has got himself ahead of Bongit. So great move from the reigning GT Sport driver, champion, I should say, and Bongit driving incredibly well here in the Aston Martin as well, you have to say, but now using the ill-favoured hard tyres. Astonishing on the mediums, which have warmed up a lot quicker, yeah, Bongit going through his mandatory hard tyre phase. Down into the bus stop, any manoeuvres coming? It looks like Kuros Kai might have had a run, but he's got Arcane right behind him, and that Supra is super quick through the bus stop, and on slightly newer tyres as well. This is on board with Arcane. Behind us we've got Sully, but Arcane may be lagging slightly as they both try to slipstream past Saito, and then we have a slightly clumsy moment coming through. That gives up a little bit of momentum to the Karate Tortoise of Sully, who clattered the wall in a big way coming down into turn 1. You put so much faith in the drivers around you into turn 1 because it's so easy for them to run into the back of you. But that was Arcane getting through past Kuros Kai as well. Neat little overtake from him. The Supra isn't looking quite as sleek as it usually does. It's certainly been bashed around a little bit, but it's okay at the moment. No sort of recorded damage on the car icon bottom left of your screen, so that's all for the better. And Rubbings Racing, especially here at Daytona. That's Kuros Kai off on the grass as well. Unfortunately, Sully goes through and Saito goes with him. Kuros Kai having a bit of a nightmare. A couple of sectors there, dropping down to P12 here. He's on the medium tyres. He's not as fat with fuel as most drivers around him. He doesn't really have a lot of excuses for what's just happened, unfortunately. But it's not worked out. Our Saito was passed as if he was standing still on the previous lap, but he's back into 10th position now. Sully looking for an opportunity to make the pass on the way through. Into the bus stop we go. Can he get it done or not? It's not there for him. Our Saito, this Aston Martin, looks like a good race car this time round in season 4.1, certainly at Daytona. And now we've got the experts in the live chat. I want to know what you think is going to be the car of the field this season in both the GT Pro and the GTD series. Which do you think over the course of the season, from the races that we're actually going to be racing at? What's your view on that and how it's going to be running? Who it's going to favour most? We have today, of course, Daytona. In 2 weeks' time, Watkins Glen, and 2 weeks after that, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. North American start to our World Tour here for the first time in season 4. Then we have Suzuka heading all the way over to Japan, followed by Saint-Croix in France. Then the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the penultimate round of the championship, and we'll be finishing the season at an unusual venue, Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, Spain. So looking forward to 7 races here, and 2 sets of 7 races, of course, as we are racing with both of our series. And we'll try and bring you all of those races live here on Webbo Commentary. And a big thank you to everybody who has already liked the video today and is a loyal subscriber as well. Astonishing leads us, but by only 0.3 of a second, as Bongit is looking for that opportunity now. And unfortunately, it was too much apex into the second part of the bus stop, taking a 1 second penalty. And he'd just done all the hard work of getting close to Astonishing. And now he's going to be fighting off Thrasher, I fear. Let's see, on board with Thrasher as the penalty is taking effect of Bongit's car. And that is really, really horrible place to have the penalty marker, because it hurts you all this long way across the start-finish line into turn 1. And it looks like Thrasher is going to fight to try and get this job done. Bongit is going to try and hold on as much as possible. Thrasher around the outside, Bongit to the inside, try and steal the inside line going into the International Horseshoe on the east side, or at least in the dead centre of the perimeter of the race circuit. But Bongit holds on for now, at least, to second place, but a big deficit. He turned what was a 0.3 deficit to a 2.8 second gap to the leader of the race, unfortunately, as the liquor flames come out of the side exhausts there on the Aston Martin V12. Thirsty car, but sounds absolutely glorious. Bongit racing with no traction control. I can't see everybody's traction control. This is the first time I think I've ever seen people's traction control choices. I don't know if that depends on what they're looking at or how it works out exactly as to why we're seeing it. But this is then the battle over 5th position, Arcane, in the slightly laggy looking Supra. But certainly looking very, very quick indeed. Down the inside of Dirksey in towards the bus stop. Nice smooth and clean overtake. Exactly what we want to see in there. Perhaps we want to see a little bit closer, a little bit more competitive. And there's Aussie just changing between TC2 and TC3 for some strange reason. I don't know why it keeps working out that way. Aussie's in 8th, Jim is in 9th place. Then our Saito is down in 10th in the banana yellow Team Universal Aston Martin. Sully's in 11th. Saito's in 10th, Sully's in 11th, and Kuros Kai is down in 12th position. Lalo Kills is in 13th right now, and Billy Bob at the back of the grid, but certainly within sight of Lalo Kills. No tail stragglers today, but they are a little bit further back with pit stops in hand and all sorts going on back there. 3.1 seconds is the gap at the front. The gap between second and third positions is what is important at this stage, as we're about halfway through this particular stint. Bongit, remember, using the hard tyres right now. Thrasher on the mediums. It's astonishing. Also, is he on the mediums too? He is indeed on the mediums. So we wait to see if Thrasher can make any use of these mediums before they get worse than the hards of Bongit in front of him. Bongit will run a full tank of fuel on these hard tyres. It's been a painful stint here, but he knows, thanks to the pole position, thanks to the first stint, that he has a huge amount of pace on the car today. He's hoping for one more pit stop, I believe, and we will see how it works out. We have passed the halfway period. Probably going to be a 33.0 lap race, or 31 question mark. It feels that way at the moment. T Deeds is going faster than he's been before in the Ford GT. Glorious looking car, but a really difficult one to drive, not least because of the difficult visibility on board. So any inroads from Thrasher? He's actually lost ground slightly to Bongit here. I think those mediums are starting to fade as Arcane is closing in on T Deeds. Now half a second only between the two. Zen saying should be 32 or 31, just like the Pro, but you fancy that they are going to go a tiny bit slower. But yes, I suppose the Pro comfortably crossed the line before the hour mark, so I guess that tracks. Here is Arcane then, looking for that chance to go down the inside of T Deeds. Very early apex there from T Deeds, and then a big spin and problem. That was that all down to the early apex, I wonder? But he's cleared off a couple of those infield polystyrene adverts. Unfortunately, far away camera caught all of that action going on for him. That gives Dirksey an opportunity to think about maybe closing in here, and it gives Arcane a chance to clear, perhaps go on the hunt for a podium position here today. Gareth Carr was saying that Top 5 is giving us some good racing today. Can't decide if you're being sarcastic or not, but certainly fairly close for sure. The gap between the top 5, between the top 6 is 9.5 seconds after 18 laps and a safety car, of course. T Deeds is completely out of fuel now, so that run across the grass won't help things, but in he comes. So it will be 2 more stops for T Deeds. Astonishing of Bongit also in this lap. Dirksey able to run the Hyundai a little bit longer, as was Thrasher and Arcane. They will stay out for an extra lap and run on 2, possibly even 3 for Arcade. Look at that, quarter of a tank of fuel. He has held some fuel back here and will be slightly off cycle with the rest of them. Aussie in P4 in the Tide Cannonball car. Gareth saying no sarcasm, it's Deed's fault for crashing, as I said. Right. Yeah, fair enough. Aussie P4 now, thanks to the pit stop difference. and Jim just behind him as well. So these two Cannonball teammates in the Audi R8, which has been a very economic car when it comes to fuel consumption, no doubt at all. Just 22.5 minutes remain in our endurance series. We've got full dark conditions. I don't think we'll get to see any sunrise effect at this point, but it's been very, very atmospheric and enjoyable to look at. Lando Kills in that 6th place, and Astonishing in 7th now, coming out of the pits on a set of medium tyres and a full tank of fuel. We'll run this as long and as far into the race as possible. Try and split the remainder of the race into 2. Run 6 or 7 lap stints, I think. And we have Astonishing then, who has emerged from the pits in front of Bongit. Bongit back on the medium tyres that I'm sure he'll be very pleased to be about. Both cars fueling to the max, but obviously it looks like Astonishing in the Supra wasn't quite as empty when it started filling as Bongit was. So it's going to be interesting now. Bongit, pole position, is now in net 3rd place on the track, and we'll see if he can overcome the 2 Supras of the Chameleons team. Getting on into the International Horseshoe, dead centre of the racetrack. Bongit follows Astonishing, who has Lando Kills just in front of him, and then a bit of a gap out to Arcane, who is in 2nd place at the moment. Astonishing looking quite impatient to make the move past Lalo Kills. Lalo a little bit all over the circuit here, with the poorer traction and lighter fuel load evening itself out to a certain extent, but Astonishing finally dealing with the challenge. And Bongit, much smoother ride through the in and out and back onto the oval. Might get a good tow here for Bongit. Let's join him on board and see. 165 miles an hour, and then the heavy V12 getting that tucked in neat and tidy through the bus stop. And that Supra really is sparking considerably along the bumpy Daytona circuit. Refuel message is bogus. It's been a bug for years, and can't seem to clear that off the replay camera. Keep your eye on the fuel load indicator, centre left of screen at the bottom there. Bongit now trying to unlock that pace he had earlier on and not get stuck into the rhythm of Astonishing too much. It's easily done. You start focusing on the car in front instead. Arcane has ended up back down in P4 here after another pit stop. So that was the length of the soft tyre stint, I think, for Arcane. But yes, he's pitted now. Full tank of fuel, new set of medium tyres to go. I don't know if that means that he will, I'm pretty sure he will stop again. Oof, that's going to be tight. 8 or 9 laps will be the maximum, and the mediums are very much second best by the time you get there as well. The maximum on the fuel load is 8 or 9 laps, depending on your car manufacturer. And then Thrash is in 5th place. Zen saying everyone will need to pit once more, including Arcane, who has just pitted, and Jim, who's pitting now. I'm asking. 18 minutes, roughly 1 minute 48 laps. It's going to come down to whether they need to do a 31st or 32nd lap to finish out this race. Jim is in, and Jim will go through. This is Thrasher in P5, soon to be P4, thanks to the pit stop looming. And we'll just follow back to see teammate Lalo Kills, who has a ways to go yet, 2 or 3 more laps before his pit stop. Zen saying maybe they can stretch it, but they'll have to save and therefore won't be as quick. Lalo Kills then P5. We've got Dirksey in P6 and TD's in P7. Hugejar is 8th right now, as our Saito is hoping to get out of the pits and stay ahead of Jim, and that will be fairly easily done as Aussie completes that as well. Jim then out in 11th. He is 16.5 seconds away from the leader of the race. Astonishing at this point, hoping to stretch this run to the end of the race now, as it's lap 22. Behind Jim we have Kuros Kai. This has not been a great race for the Honda NSX nor the Karate Tortoises, who are currently 12th and 13th positions, and you just see some of the drivers on the banking in the background there. I love that feature. Billy Bob is in 14th place, almost a clear minute behind the leaders, but hoping to stay on the lead lap if he can. The gap between Astonishing and Bongit now just 0.4 of a second, and we look forward to these two pushing each other to new heights of pace and speed. Looks like the Aston Martin giving up a little bit on the early phase of the straights, and possibly starting to recover that in the braking. Supra is a tight and twitchy behaving car, and the gap opening here between Astonishing and Bongit. They're on the same tyre load, same fuel load. They've just got to hope that their team managers have chosen the right strategy for them. I don't know, maybe the team managers have given them free choice here, given them plenty of advice, I'm sure, and training, but actual free choice, we shall see. We may have actual engineering happening as well in the ears of the drivers. Perhaps Zen, Larry, you can confirm. Are you in the ear of your teammates as well while watching the stream? This is Bongit then back down to half a second. It has taken a lot of work to get back there. Arcane has dropped down to 3rd. Zen says negative, not chatting. Leave them alone, right? So 0.6 of a second, back out to almost 8 after the bus stop, and a personal best time from Bongit, which is no mean feat given the pace he was flying around earlier on. But he's back on those medium tyres. But as Gareth says, I'd love if we could cruise. Oh, I lost my mic, we say. Give me testing mic. Radio check. Radio check. That was very temporary then. Okay. Thank you, guys, for making sure. So Bongit is in second still. 8 tenths of a second, just about. And Astonishing currently resisting the pressure with what we expect to be a few laps left to go. 13.5 minutes. There will be one more pit stop, possibly time for a set of softs at the end here. Bongit is on for a fastest lap attempt here, and he's doing so in the slipstream of Astonishing's Supra. It's definitely going to help out no end, but then dropping time between sector 4 and 5, so a very strange one there. see how his trip through the bus stop goes. And it's now that the drivers have to be really awake to the fact that focus will start to flag. Fatigue is going to step up, and with the grip dropping on the tyres, it's better to change tyres and earlier rather than later, and especially with the situation with that bus stop being so difficult to get those track limits correct every time. Bongit playing with fuel, says Komakopa. Gareth saying if Bongit had the traction control on, he'd be passing. It's a matter of pride at this point, I think, for Bongit. We've got a pit stop for Huge Jar at the moment, down at the tail of the field. TD's chasing down Dirksey, who in turn is chasing down Thrasher. We have 3 cars in a line here at the moment, and just in the distance there, you're not going to miss it, the Tide car of Aussie. I'm assuming that Aussie, having a certain President-elect's sticker on the side of the car, and given that he's Canadian, I'm assuming that's in mockery rather than support. we shall have to wait and find out if he wishes to tell us. As Komakopa says, he hates assists. He will never put an assist on. Good on him, I say. Good on him, and props to him for that. That's fantastic to see. But he has lost out to Arcane on that lap. So whether that was a fuel issue, let's just see if we can catch it in the replay buffer. No, sadly not. So Bongit down behind Arcane. It was an unexpected moment there, but if he is trying to eke out the fuel, then he will be turning the power down slightly. Is that an assist? Should he have to lift and coast instead? There's a question for you. And if he tells you he doesn't run assists and has been playing around with the fuel mixture, maybe you could argue that that's not true. It is sunrise. We are actually going fully through the day-night cycle and back to day again. Headlights and assists. Yeah, and I guess windshield wipers as well. We haven't needed those today. Power steering. Yeah, definitely. This is Dirksey in 5th position then. Just going over that pit lane exit area to get the best line in to the International Horseshoe here. 5th place as the sun rises over the Daytona Rolex 24. And 10 minutes left on the clock is all we have to race with. Still waiting on those final pit stops for the main bulk of the grid. This is Aussie in P7. He has to pit again. Jim is trying to complete this on fumes, I think, at the end of the race. He was the last of the last bunch to stop, so that's got to be the run here. But that's not very in spirit of Team Cannonball, is it? Maybe he's asking Aussie in chat to make sure that he gets the tow every time, because he'll need that to try and save the fuel for a finish. Aussie with much less fuel on board, and of course the driver's waiting till the last possible moment to make those final pit stops. Arcane could end up losing out here thanks to a track limit infraction. It was the tiniest of infractions. Astonishing comes into the pits. Bongit will be right with Arcane here and is closing in, and then looking for that chance down into turn 1, but it's not quite on just yet. But Bongit now has fresh hope. Astonishing is pitted. T Deeds is currently pitting at the same time as well, and it's going to be interesting where Astonishing comes out with Jim as well. Let's have a look. Jim is ahead of Astonishing, so Jim has a small buffer there to try and play with, but if he has had to turn the engine down, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed to finish this race out. He'll be hoping that the leaders slow each other down and save a lap. That could come back to help him. Arcane leads us. Bongit in second. Through the in and out, there you go. And Bongit has a much nicer run through here. Arcane cuts across the nose. Bongit on absolute fumes now. Arcane has probably got a reasonable amount of fuel to finish. Bongit can come in for a very quick splash and dash and change onto soft tyres, but will give up, of course, a huge amount of time to the others. I need to know who Glovas is cheering on here. It's got to be the Chameleon team, right? So Arcane and Astonishing. So Bongit heading on into the pit lane at the end of this lap, no doubt. Giving up a little bit of time there to Arcane just to make sure the car doesn't enter low fuel mode. Here we come. So back down to C, P7 Astonishing, and there's quite a big gap, 15 seconds to Jim. Jim has got a little bit of room to play with here, but this will be important then. Has Astonishing been able to put in a good lap? He has filled the tank with fuel and put medium tyres on. Glovas, talk to me. Team leader, what is going on with Astonishing? You don't need a full tank of fuel for 7 minutes of racing, surely. So that could be a strategic error for Astonishing. Has that cost him the potential win here today? As I'm sure that Bongit won't stop for quite as long. He's in the pits at the moment, Bongit. Where will Bongit resume racing? Let's see. They very quickly appear out of the pit lane, and here comes Bongit. There he is. He can see the target. It's 2.5 seconds. He's gone for a fairly large amount of fuel as well for 6 minutes of racing. So Bongit's target is ahead. Astonishing lives in Florida. He's probably preparing for a hurricane, so an unfair home field advantage, I think Gareth is claiming here potentially. But Jim is in P3 and trying to get this car home. We will see if it's possible. 5 minutes and 30 seconds remain to Jim to try and run a third of a tank of fuel. Go Thrasher, says Preston. I don't think Preston can make it. If Jim is marginal, then Thrasher has to pit. I'm sure of it. As Arcane also unlikely to make it home. But Jim, what a strat, says Gareth. Nice to hear Preston speak up in the chat as well. And Jim in third. We've got Astonishing in fourth. Bongit down in fifth place, but catching now on the soft tyres. He's been able to go. Now Astonishing went for the mediums to be safe. Timfoot says can do that on map 1 with 39%. I'm assuming, Timfoot, you're talking about Jim can get home on map 1. Jimbo is an absolute legend, says Tim. So there we have 33% roughly fuel remaining to him. This is Bongit chasing down Astonishing, 1.3 seconds. These two think it's for the lead. They don't know about Jim's strategy. I don't think they can be awake to the fact that they will think that this is the battle over the lead of the race. I can't see that they would know that Jim is running this thirsty run as he gets a purple sector for Bongit, and he's closing that gap right down. As Gareth says, Jim doesn't have to leave the neighbourhood now if he brings it home. Right, okay, thanks Tim. So he's talking about Astonishing and Bongit on their fuel strats, but I'm thinking Jim is going to do this like an absolute legend. Bongit took it on softs, absolutely, he did indeed. So he's going to be fine, I think, on those softs. I'm confused as to why both drivers put as much fuel in as they did, and why Astonishing took the medium tyres. This is what they think this is for the lead of the race. Could it be that Jim is going to hold on and deny them that win? Bongit has great pace this stage, of course, but he's got to clear Astonishing very quickly indeed. So through the bus stop, it didn't happen. Astonishing will defend, I'm sure, into turn 1. and then Bongit has to kind of follow him through. It's difficult to make an overtake around this Daytona road circuit configuration. After turn 1, right up, I think, until the bus stop. Here it is. Just got to pile on the pressure. Looking for that opening, looking for that gap. Astonishing, moving around, trying to hold the line, hold the inside line. Bongit will go round the outside and try a cutback, I think, here. Could have been a little bit tighter to the rear bumper, but couldn't make it through. Sorry, fender, for my American and Canadian viewers. Bongit through the dogleg and in towards the West Horseshoe. And we've got to try now and get out of the in and out as smoothly as possible for Bongit. He's having a look down the inside. He's having a show. He's having a look. Gap to Jim, 7.3, Tim. 7.3. Zen says, we say bumper. Well, I thought for all the world that it was going to be it was going to be fenders. Here then is Bongit. And looking down the outside, that Supra is quick in a straight line. Is he going to go for a lunge? No, he's focusing on the exit of the bus stop, as Astonishing is doing the opposite. We've got calls all over the place for what to look at. Jim is on fuel. And there's not a lot remaining, but there's only 1 minute 22 to go. Arcane has crossed the line to make this the final lap. I think this is going to be the final lap. Certainly will be for P2. Jim can do this. Jim can do this. He's got Thrasher just behind him, who's on a little bit less fuel. Let's have a look. Bongit still hasn't been able to get past Astonishing. They've got the lap car in the middle of there as well. Arcane is trying to run this too. But look at the fuel on Arcane's car. This is the final... well, he's got the gap. He's got the gap to make it. I had written off Arcane to my great chagrin. I shouldn't have done so. 30 seconds on the clock. How about this? Wonder what mapping we're running. But he's got 14 seconds in hand. He can turn the engine down here. Right at the line at least. If he has to. But maybe it's better to just go full chat here. Jim is streaking into second. Bongit and Astonishing. Bongit's finally passed Astonishing. Of course he has the minute I stopped watching them. There it is. Wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper, and through they go. Beautiful stuff from Bongit. Back to live action though. Back to Arcane, who the clock has reached 0. The fuel is nearing the same position. Jim's comfortable in comparison to Arcane and to Thrasher. Thrasher could well hit low fuel mode before the end, but Thrasher can keep it pinned. He's got 13 seconds in hand now. The engine is turned right down. It doesn't matter. It's undefeated. It's Arcane with a lovely slide finish as well. Arcane with the win with a fantastic strategy. It looks like Thrasher's going to try and push Jim all the way home. They're going side by side. I think Jim's got it. He has at the line by 26 thousandths of a second. Bongit takes 4th ahead of Astonishing. Thrasher in that 3rd place. Dirksey then across the line to take home 6th place, and T Deeds in the 7th place. Huge Jar in 8th will lead home. Saito in 9th, followed by Aussie. It was a 31 lap race, not 32 in the end. Aussie comes home to take 10th place. Kuroskai, not the best day here for the GTD Karate Tortoises as they come home way down the order. Unfortunately, Kuroskai in P11, there it is, the start-finish line. We've got Lalo Kills in 12th, and Sully will be the last car to take the checker because Billy Bob had already taken it. It's Arcane with the win, though, for the first race of the 7-race championship here at the GTD Deviant World Challenge. Isaac's speaking up. He says, Jim is him. Thank you to Tim as well. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time to say something in the chat today, who's liked the video and left a subscription click on the channel as well. Thank you to Deviant Racing League for inviting me back once again. I want to say a quick thank you to Anatole Maxwell for making all of this collaboration possible. And the final standings then are Arcane in first with Jim in second. Thrasher comes home third place, and Bongit and Astonishing, despite being right up there throughout the race and doing the kind of plan A strategy, coming home in fourth and fifth places respectively. Fastest lap went the way of our Canadian racer Bongit in the Universal Studios livery. Dirksey in P6 and T-Deeds in P7, with Huge Star coming home in 8th place. To finish out the grid in 9th, Saito, Aussie in 10th, Kuros Kai in 11th, and Lalo Kills in 12th, Sully 13th, and Billy Bob in 14th. Thanks to Chaotica for driving our safety car. It's been great. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time here for Deviant Racing League. We'll see you again in less than 2 hours' time for some more racing action on the channel. But for me, Webbo, from everyone here at Deviant, thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us here at Daytona. And we will catch you on the next race day.